Welcome back once again to the P4PE Summit, Career Success Summit, where we are examining today Career Launchpad, how you can set a strong foundation for a successful career journey. We have just finished discussing the Agile Professional. We are now turning attention to the next topic on personal branding and being able to use that to achieve greater results. Our next speaker at this point in time is Mr. Frederick Okeago. He is going to be speaking with us on career goal setting, defining and achieving career objectives, how to set, how to track, and how to achieve career milestones. Mr. Peter is a highly decorated executive. He has a master's, he has a PGD, he has certifications and qualifications from CMC, from CIPM, and also from CKPI in Australia. Mr. Okeago is a HR expert, he's a global speaker, he's an author, he's a leadership coach, a career counselor, and a personal assistant expert and HR automation specialist. He renders services and products around human resource management, training and business consulting, performance catalyst, and also inspires workforce engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, please join hands to welcome Mr. Frederick Okeago from HRM Office to take us on the topic that says career goal setting, defining and achieving career objectives, how to set, track, and achieve career milestones. Mr. Peter, Mr. Okeago, please do take it away. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joel.
Thank you.
I'm glad to be part of this meeting this morning. And I celebrate every one of us on the call. I want to give kudos also to Peter, who gave us the powerful session we just had. Excellent delivery. And I also have my own takeaway from that meeting, much like what Mr. Joel mentioned. And one of those, my takeaway there is that the lifespan of skill is just 5 years now. Thank you so much, Peter, for that impactful session. Yes, so we are going to be discussing setting career path for yourself, setting a very clear and compelling career path for yourself. I'm trying to share my screen. I realized over my 15 years plus professional experience that life is all about setting goals. If you don't set goals, you will become a servant to those who set goals. If you don't set goals, you become a servant to those who set goals. Jane, please, maybe you can help me share from your end. I don't know what's going on here now. My slide is not coming up. Help me share from your end, Jane. And so if you don't set goals, you become a servant to those who set goals. Very important. Very important. And so that is why it's important for us to begin to learn how to set goals, and especially career goals. I know that as human beings, we are wearing many caps. Most of us are wearing many caps. You wear the cap of a professional, you wear the cap of a family person. If you are married, maybe a wife or a husband, you wear the cap of a father or a mother. You wear the cap of a believer, either you're a Muslim or a Christian. So we wear many caps as human beings, right? If you're part of a club, maybe you are a strong member of that club, you may have a role there. So all of us have different caps we wear part-time. But all these caps we wear part-time are actually striving for attention from us. And believe you me, we all have just 24 hours in a day, just 24 hours in a day. And so the question is, how do you get results from each of these caps you are wearing? How do you get results from each of these caps you're wearing? And so that is why we need to discuss this. Because in the real sense of it, if you don't get to learn how to wear this cap, it means that you are going to be falling short in one of the areas. And we are laying emphasis today on the career aspect of our lives, the cap you are wearing as a career person. Now, I graduated as a mechanical engineer some years back and transitioned into human resource management. And then I've been in it for years. And the question is, I've grown to become a director as we speak in my professional level. And that is why we're looking at this. How am I able to get to this point where I've graduated to become a director in what we do as HR? I started off as an officer, an apprentice, and I'm going to give you a kind of schedule of how I transitioned. You know, the first 2 years of my career was majorly apprenticeship thing I was doing, trying to learn the ropes, right? You know, remember I studied mechanical engineering. After graduation, I realized that I am better off working with people than with machines. And because of that realization, I took a wonderful decision to now enter into human resource management. And so I started an apprenticeship job, to learn HR. And then in the first 2 years, I was learning. Then the first 3 to 5 years of my, professional life, I was engaged in certifications. The first 3 to 5 years was now basically, trying to do certifications. While I was working, I was very passionate about my certifications, right? So I did my CIPM, as a HR professional. I also did a certification in performance management with KPI Institute of Australia. I did a certification as a management consultant with a Center for Management Development, CMD, and then, many other trainings that I attended at that time. Now, in the range of 7 years to 10 years, I went back to school. My 7th year to 10th year, professional life, I went back to school. So I did my PGD, postgraduate diploma in guidance and counseling. I also did my master's in international human resource management, right? Now, in my 15 years, 14 years and above to 15 years, 16 years, I'm now doing my PhD in labor relations, industrial relations, and HR. So why did I state these stages? We're talking about career advancement, growing in your career. We're talking about progressing in your career. And so you need to understand that it is doable, right? Right from becoming a fresh graduate in mechanical engineering to becoming a director in HR. And then I've given you how that progress have, taken place over time. right? So now let's go to the nitty-gritty of how you yourself can get to develop yourself and build this, this your career that you are passionate about. So we'll talk about goals. We're talking about setting targets for yourself. It could be short term, it could be long term, that define your profession, because all of us get to understand that, this thing is important to us. And if it's important to you, you need to sit down to be able to create a plan for it. When an architect is going to build a house, he's going to spend time to do a plan, do the structural plan and drawings and all that. And it takes time to do that. And after that, they will begin to build, right? Now, but the question is, a lot of people don't actually sit down for 2-3 hours to even plan their lives vis-a-vis their career life. And so when we're talking about career goal setting, we're talking about you being intentional about planning. And they say that if you have failed to plan, you have planned to fail. So if you don't plan your career, you will not succeed in that career, period. Yeah, I repeat, if you don't plan your career, you will not succeed in that career. And so that's why there's need to be a plan. So when I came out from the university, I had a plan to grow as a HR professional, to become an expert, to become a voice in it, right? And so first off, I started, with step by step. You are not going to do everything at once. That's why you have to spread, the plan. And today, I'm very excited and happy where I am. So you may not be able to change the direction of the wind, but you can adjust your sails, and that is what it is. That is what it is. Next slide. And so it's very important for us. So it's been said that 42% of people who actually plan their career achieve it. And the advantage of setting goals for your career is because it brings clarity, it brings accountability, and it helps you to remember, right? And so when we're talking about setting these goals and making it clear, is for you to be able to not ambiguity, to avoid ambiguity, right? And also you'll be able to measure yourself. I normally say that you are the CEO of your life. You are the CEO of your life. You are the CEO of your life. So if you are the CEO of your life, what are the traits of CEOs? Number one of those traits is planning. Every CEO of an organization plans. They set goals. We came into 2025, a lot of companies had already set out goals they want to achieve. They've put out targets for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. My question to you as a career person is, what goals or what plans have you set out for your career in this year, 2025, which is like a short-term goal? What goals, what plans do you have for yourself in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years concerning this, your career? So that's critical. So if you are not doing that, it means that you are outsourcing the leadership of your life to another person. And do you know who that person is? You are outsourcing it to the person called chance. There's a human, there's an entity, maybe not a human, but an entity called chance that you outsource your life to when you don't plan. I repeat, there's an entity called chance that you outsource your life to when you don't plan. So if you allow chance to run your career for you, then don't be surprised what you will get after some years. And I can tell you for sure what that is. That thing that you're going to get after some time will be called regret. You're going to regret. Time waits for no man. So Michael Jordan said, write it down. Written goals have a way of transforming wishes into wants. Cans into cans, dreams into plans, and plans into reality. Don't just think it, ink it. Don't just think it, ink it. Please, one of the things you're going to take away from this session is that you're going to write your goals down. You're going to write it. Have a journal. Maintain a journal. It could be in your phone. It could be a physical booklet. Write things down. Develop that plan. Be clear about the plan. Be clear about the plan. I want to tell you about something. I was thinking of while I was meditating and thinking about my career progression, so many years ago, I came up with an acronym that I call IDIOT, IDIOT, IDIOT. And what do I mean by that acronym? It means insignificant development or improvement over time. Insignificant development or improvement over time. I signifies insignificant. D, development. The other I, improvement. O, over. And then T, time. Insignificant development or improvement over time. Right? If you got what I just said, I would like you to put it on the chart. Be the first to put it on the chart. If you are hearing me, if you can hear me, and you understood what I just said now, can you put that acronym on the chat area, chat box? IDIOT, insignificant development or improvement over time. Now, that is a life process, is a lifestyle that many people practice, right? So you wake up in the morning, you do what I call wear belle face approach to living. Insignificant development or improvement over time. Thank you, Jennifer. So you wake up in the morning, you just act based on the spur of the moment. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, Benjamin. You just act based on the spur of the moment, how you feel, or the wind of events, right? So if they are saying that there is a recruitment going on at Oshodi, you dress up and you go. They say there's something happening at VI, you dress up and you go. No plan, no plan. You just wake up. I call it wear belle face. So you just do according to the events around you, not actually according to your plan, right? And this our generation has a lot of billboards. I hope you know. We have a lot of billboards everywhere. Billboards, advert spaces, right? And so if you allow chance to dictate how you react to your career, the billboards of life will become the thing that is orchestrating how you move, instead of going by the blueprint. So that's what I call the billboard approach or the blueprint approach. So if you allow chance to rule you in your career, you'll be going by anything you hear. Oh, they say it's digital analysis today, you jump into it. They say it's digital marketing, you jump into it. They say it's customer service, you jump into it, and all whatnot. So you don't have a direction. You don't have a direction. You just be flowing from one place to the other. And then at the end of the day, you have become a master of none. I'm coming back to the IDIOT process. Don't worry, I'm coming back to that. And so now you need to be careful that you are not moved by every wind of doctrine, as the Bible will put it, right? And if you are not going to be moved by every wind of doctrine, you need to be clear with your goals. You need to have a plan. You need to have a plan. And so you must wake up every morning knowing what to do for that day, already scheduled. And that is why a lot of people plan the night before. If you can't plan the night before, then you plan early in the morning before you step out. Let the blueprint guide your steps. Let the blueprint guide your steps so that your footprint will make a mark. I repeat, let the blueprint guide your steps so that your footprints will make a mark. Let the blueprint guide your steps so that your footprint will make a mark. If you don't do this, my dear, you will end up spending 50 years on this earth and you discover that you have not mastered anything. You have become an all-rounder and professional at none. I'm not here to come and talk to you about multitasking and doing multiple things. No, I'm here to talk to you about finding a path and following that path. Like I came out from the university, even though I studied mechanical engineering, I discovered my path, which should be human resource related, and I focused on it. And for over 15 years, that's what I have been doing. It does not mean I'm not competent in many other things, but this is my core. This is my foundation. This is my primary assignment. And so you must be clear with that. When I do interviews and people come and sit before me and they say, oh, I can do anything for you, that's the end of that conversation. That ends that conversation, because it means the person does not have a career path. It means the person is not clear with where he's going. You need to be focused now. You can't just come and tell me you can do anything for me. No, there must be an area that you feel you add value based on your strength. Now, so we are saying that there's an approach to setting goals, and it's very popular. We all know that, I believe, but if you don't know, this is also an opportunity for you to know. It's called SMART. What is SMART? SMART is the model that has been proven to help you achieve your goals. SMART means that every goal you are setting must be specific. Must be specific. And that's why I'm talking about being specific, not generalizing things and saying that you can do anything. No, you need to be specific. So somebody needs to sit down one day and say, okay, based on who I am, the grace, the talent, the skill, the ability that God has given to me, what will I do? What should I be focusing in? Right? Like that day, I realized myself, I call it personal discovery, self-discovery. I realized that I'm not supposed to be working with machines, that my passion to work with machines is a secondary passion. No, it shouldn't be my primary. And so I made that shift immediately. So I was specific, and I told myself, I said, okay, so how do I get results? So I told myself, so how do I get results in this? I discovered that it has to be through HR. Measurable. What does it mean to be measurable? Measurable means that you must be able to track your progress. You must be able to measure it. And so I told myself, first 2 years, I'm going to use it to learn, apprentice, right? Like a servant kind of thing. You follow the people that know it, you listen, you learn, you hear instruction, you take instruction, you are an errand boy, doing the thing, you are seeing them, following them to do it. On the job training, hands-on, you are being guided, you are being guided. And so that's the first stage. Second stage, I told myself, I'm going to go and do my certifications. And so as I'm doing my certification, I write my exams, I get it done. I write my exams, I get it done. Please. It's distracting my conversation. And so now, so if it's not measurable, it means that when you get results, you won't know. If it's not measurable, it means that you don't even know where you have gotten results. And so that is why we talk about being measurable. We're still talking about the slide on SMART, right? So if it's not measurable, you won't know when you have gotten results. And so you need to make sure that your goal is measurable, that you know when you have gotten the result, the answer. You know when you have achieved it, right? It must be measurable. It shouldn't be ambiguous. What is success? What does success mean to you? Right? Okay, you came out this morning. How do you measure that you have achieved today? It's based on the fact that you have said, okay, today I'm going to attend this conference. I'm going to attend this lecture. So it's measurable. And what is the time? There's a timeline for it. So if at the end of this class, you say, okay, you tick it. It is done. In your to-do list, this one is done. It's measurable. Number 3 is attainable. Attainable means that it's something that your hand can reach. There's something we normally say in Igbo, ononso eraka. We normally talk about ononso eraka, something that is close but your hand cannot reach it. There are certain lofty goals or aspirations that they may look feasible or close to you, but you can't reach it. Why? Because of limited resources or certain things that are going to become a hindrance to you, right? So you must be able to ensure that the goal you're setting for yourself is attainable. For instance, There's no way I can be setting a goal of owning a private jet today. Frederick Okago, it doesn't matter how much faith I have. That is not attainable today. Maybe in the next 3 years, maybe in the next 5 years, that may be an attainable goal. There was a time our president, Tinubu, was leading Lagos, right? So he had his scope of influence or span of control is within the state, as it were. But as he was pressuring and making sure that he is working very well in that scope of in that span of influence, right? He expanded it, and today he has become the president of Nigeria. Now, if at that time that he was the governor of Lagos State, he is setting goals that are Nigerian based, right? As in, he wants to do things that he doesn't have capacity to do by resources. He won't be able to achieve them. But today he can actually achieve such goals because time have brought him to that level. So you must be able to set goals that are attainable. Number 3 is relevant. Is the goal you're setting for yourself relevant? We're talking about career goals. How can you be attending a particular training that doesn't have any bearing to what you are saying is your profession? No knowledge is a waste, but my dear, is also, you're actually shortchanging yourself because of time. Because I normally say that doing one thing means not doing the other. Doing one thing means not doing the other. So even though no knowledge is a waste, you could have channeled that energy to something that is relevant for now. Let me give you an illustration of what I mean by being relevant. I did 5 years course called mechanical engineering. And after graduation, I started my career in human resource management. Well, guess what? I met a man who became my boss who did 4-year course in human resource management. Now, we're almost the same age. But by the time he was coming out from the university, he had already gotten his CIPM certification, had already gotten global certification in HR by HRCI, Human Resource Certification Institute, right? So do you see the speed at which he was going? Because he aligned, he made his education, his BSc, his undergraduate education to align with his goal to become a HR person. Meanwhile, because I didn't discover myself that early, I did mechanical engineering, which was a detour as far as I'm concerned, right? And so that knowledge is not a waste, actually, but I didn't gain the speed that the other guy got. At the time I was earning 180,000 naira, he was earning 500,000. At the time I was earning 280, he was earning 1.2 million. So your courses and your trainings, you must try as much as possible to streamline it, to align, to be relevant to your career. So I'm trying to explain what relevance, means in this instance, right? So your career goals must be relevant to where you're going. You can't be planning to go to Ibadan and you are on your way to Badagry. How are you going to do that? The last point there is time bound. Every goal you are setting for yourself must have a timeline. Must have what? A timeline. And that is why I had to write down what Peter said when he was talking to us. Why? Because he was talking about time. I'm so particular. I'm somebody that is very particular about timelines, about bound, time bound of a particular target or task, right? He talked about it. He said that the lifespan of your certificate, of your training, of your skill, it is 5 years now. 5 years. 5 years. And you know why I'm excited with that statement? I said so many years ago, I started practicing what I call 4 or 5 years review of my life. Because I told myself that every 4 years, the Nigerian government changes. The administration is always 4 years. And so a lot of Nigerians will always say after 4 years that so president didn't do well, so governor didn't do well, so councillor didn't do well, and they are castigating and talking against public officers. No problem. You may be right. But my question to you is, what did you achieve in the 4 years? So I started measuring my success. I started measuring myself in terms of midterm goals, right? In 4 years, 4 years, 4 years. So Tinubu started leading us, I think, 2023. So this is almost second year now, right? Ask yourself, as you are pointing finger at Nigerian government, what have they achieved in 2 years? What have you achieved in your life in 2 years? I told you you are the CEO of your life. In your career, what have you achieved in those 2 years? So time bound is very important. And that brings me back to what we were talking about before, the idiot life process, the idiot lifestyle. A lot of people don't get to time bound their aspirations. You graduated from school 10 years ago. You've not gone back to school again. That's an idiot life process. You started working 5 years ago. You've never done any training anymore. Whether it's 3 days training or 2 days training, you have not done one. That's an idiot life process. Insignificant development or improvement over time is an idiot lifestyle. You must be adding to yourself. And so that's why you need to take seriously that statement that Peter made. That every 5 years, some of your skill goes obsolete. Every 5 years. Every 5 years. What that means is that you are being relegated to the background every 4 or 5 years. So what do you now do to make sure that you stay in line with the trend, that you move in the flow, that you are not relegated? Next slide. So we've talked about setting SMART goals, make it specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Correct. Now, let's talk about the principles of goal setting. Now, when you set goals, you have to make it challenging for yourself, right? Make it challenging for yourself. It's very important. Because goals are meant to stretch you. They are meant to stretch you. Let me give you an illustration. When I was doing my master's program, I actually registered to do my PhD and PGD, postgraduate diploma in guidance and counseling in UNILAG in 2019. Well, guess what? Strike happened. And beyond strike, COVID now came again in 2020 and scattered the entire plan. And I've already set out that within 1 year, I'm done with that PGD to now go into my master's. So I was hoping that by 2021, I would already be doing my master's degree. But now COVID happened and the PGD program I've started, we have not even done first semester. And so what did I do? I said, no, I cannot wait. I now enrolled in my master's virtual approach during the COVID period. And within 1 year, I was able to do that. But guess what? As COVID was ending, the postgraduate diploma program also opened up. UNILAG now started school. So the two were clashing. And I was working. You can imagine what I went through. It was hell, kind of, on earth. Hell. It was a tough goal. It stressed me. But I was able to surmount it. Even financially, it was very tough. I had to sell my car, my Lexus 300, to pay my final school fees for that my MSc program, because it's a foreign university and they don't take no for an answer, right? And so I had to sell my car to pay my school fees and defend my thesis, right? So you must set goals that will stretch you. If the goal you set still allow you that you wake up in the morning, you are not feeling like rushing to anywhere, my dear, it's not a goal. It must stretch you. Another thing is, it has to be clear. Clarity, very important. And then task complexity. Don't exceed beyond a certain limit, because if you stretch it too long, you get demotivated. So you need to create a balance between stretching and overburdening yourself. Very important. Then feedback. Track your progress and commitment. Be committed to it. Next slide, because of time. There are 3 types of goals. 3 types of goals. We have long-term, we have mid-term, which some people call middle term, and then we have short-term goals. I will apply it to your career. Now, let's look at the slide. If you look at the slide, you will see that when we talk about short-term goals in terms of your career, we're talking about things that you can do now, right now, within 1 week, 1 day, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, things that you can achieve within this short time. We call them short-term goals. And I itemized there that you can do skill building. You can build on your skill. You can network, right? These are things you can set as goals for yourself. You can attend conferences that will help you to network with professionals in your field. When we talk about midterm goals, you can be looking at issues like leadership roles, climbing into from becoming an officer to getting into managerial role, and if need be, if you're someone that wants to make a career shift, attaining that career shift based on the fact that you have gathered some experience in one particular field, and then you now want to move on or transit to another, that kind of thing is midterm goal. Then when you're talking about becoming an executive, maybe a director like I am today, you're talking about 5 years, 10 years plan, right? You stretch it, it becomes something that you're looking forward to, in the long term. For some, you want to, come to that point where you transition from paid employment to becoming an employer of labor, right? In your industry, because again, that's also part of your career. Some people may not continue to work, work. Some people want to transition from working, to becoming their own boss. That is also correct. It's fine. But all these things, you need to plan it, right? From short term to long term, from short term to mid term, from mid term to long term. So you need to orchestrate it that way, and that will help you, right? So, and I said that this session is expecting you to write things down. So as I'm talking, can you be writing down what you think should be your short-term goals in your career? What should be your mid-term goals in your career? What should be your long-term goals in your career? It will help you. For me, I did that, and that's why I was able to explain to you what I went through in my 15 years. The first 2 years was apprenticeship. The first 3 to 5 years was certifications. The first 7 to 10 years was going back to school to get more academic qualifications. Then, in my current season, doing my PhD and then running businesses and all that. So you need to categorize it this way. I can't see my slides anymore. Okay, so the next thing would be, sorry, let me. Okay, good. So let's talk about the science of goal setting. I was trying to open it in my phone. Good. So the science of goal setting. So what again we need to look into is not just looking at the rewards that are going to come from your goals, but look at what the sacrifices you need to make, right? So instead of asking yourself, what does success look like to you? That shouldn't just be the question, right? Don't just limit yourself to the positives, right? So think about what kind of pain are you able to endure, to get that result, to achieve what you want to achieve, right? So you need to think about that, because a lot of people have lofty ideas, they have aspirations, but when they set out, because they didn't really plan or think through the sacrifices, they drop the ball. So that's why you need to think about it. I normally also talk about the worst case scenario of things, right? When you want to set out on doing anything, think about the worst case scenario. It will help you, right? So what kind of pain can I endure to achieve my result? Next slide. You need to ask that question. Beyond the positive aspect of setting goal, you need to ask yourself the sacrifice you're going to make, what that would be. Next slide. And so the next thing would be that you need to create system around you. You need to create a system around you that will enable you to achieve your goal. I will give you an illustration. You see an athlete normally stays in an environment that fuels his or her passion. That's why you see them most of the time at the stadium. Because when they are in that environment, the propensity to begin to engage in that which is their drive is easy. Because when they look around, they are seeing somebody jogging. They look around, they are seeing somebody playing football. They look around, they're seeing somebody throwing ball. So that environment, it enables them. So you must create a system around what your goals are. If you are the type that, okay, you want to become a data analyst, and you don't even have a computer, you don't open your computer, you don't open Excel, how will you achieve it? So you must create system, things that, what we mean by system is make your environment to adapt to that passion. Make your environment to prompt you to flow with your passion, right? That's what we call systems. And so, as we see there, if you are a coach, your goal is to win a championship. So your system is what your team does every day as practice. When they practice every day, become the system you create around yourself. Now, we're in Nigeria, we have a lot of pastors that are doing very well. I want to use that as illustration. If you watch pastors the way they do, you will learn something important from them. They normally create an environment that fuels their ministry. That's why they set up prayers in the morning, set up prayers in the afternoon, set up prayers in the evening, set up prayers in the night. Now, all those things they are doing is to make sure that they are constantly in the pursuit of that which is their drive, their passion, their goal. So what systems have you created? What rituals, what routines have you created around yourself to help you in advancing your career? Next slide. Now, we now talk about finding your career north. Finding your career north. Somebody may be here and be saying, oh, okay, you have talked, Mr. Fred, you've talked so much about goal setting, but I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what career to pursue. I've met a lot of people like that, and I'm a career counselor. And when I meet people and they talk about it, I smile because, there's a solution for you, right? There's what they call, a Japanese word that they call ikigai. Ikigai. Ikigai is about actually finding that which gives you fulfillment in life. And they said that you need to look at a few things. One is the things you love. You need to look at what you love. You need to look at what you are good at. You need to look at what people can pay you for. And you need to look at what the world needs. If you look at these four aspects of things, you'll be able to come to the core of what would be your ikigai, meaning the thing you should be doing. Because passion is not enough. I hope you know. Passion is not enough. Passion is not enough. There are passion that may not be able to feed you. And if you just follow passion and it's not able to feed you, you die before your time. So passion is not enough. You need to check, what do you love doing, and then what are you good at? Do you have skill in that area? And can the world pay you for it? Are people passionate to use such things, such service? Can you offer it as a service? And number 4 is, are people in need of it? How many people would want to need such thing that you have, such skill that you have? So you must be able to analyze that, right? So I give you assignment after now to go through this and then be able to craft what should be your core. You understand? Craft what should be your core. Next slide. So turning your goals into action. Turning your goals into action. For you to turn your goals into action, you need to define it, you need to plan, and you need to execute. So we have talked so much about planning, and I want to talk about execution here, which is the last point in this slide there. Execute. You need to be action-oriented. The reason why a lot of people are not moving is because they're not taking action. They're not taking action. I told you that because of COVID and strike in the Nigerian university, I was told my goal was not moving forward. What did I do? I took action immediately to start a virtual MSc program. You must take action. When this new government started, and I told myself, I said, a new administration have started, I have a plan that every 4 years I must do something strategic concerning my development. Okay, I immediately started my PhD program. So that by the time Tinubu is finishing his first tenure, me too, I'm finishing my PhD. Take action. Don't wait. And guess what? Do you know when I took action? Immediately I took action to start my PhD. Somebody heard about it and paid for the school fees, 1.3 million, paid for it. So you listen, the reason you are having excuses is that you are not taking action. You have little faith. Take action, execute. Next slide. Accountability. Now, accountability is very important in career goal setting and development. If you don't have a way of checking yourself and somebody pushing you, nudging you here and there, you may drop the ball at some point, because sometimes it can be very challenging, right? So that's why finding a mentor is very important. So I must state that finding a mentor in your career path is very, very important. It cannot be overemphasized. In fact, it's been proven that people who have mentors in their field, actually do better than those who don't have. Right? People who have mentors in their field actually do better than those who don't have mentors. So if you want to go faster, have a mentor. If you want to go faster, have a mentor. Maybe you need to write that down. If you need to go faster in your career, have a mentor, right? Because what that mentor does is that the person introduces you to platforms. The person tells you what to do. Now, whatever mistakes I have made in the course of my career, the people that are my mentees, they can't make that such mistakes, because I guide them. Right? I guide them. So you need to find a mentor and build a network of like-minded professionals. Very important. Very important. Build a network of like-minded professionals. Then the next slide is about adaptability. Adaptability. Now, we need to say that you need to be flexible a bit. You understand? You need to be flexible a bit. Don't stick to what is not working. Don't stick to a career that is not favoring you. Don't stick to a career that is not favoring you. Right now, as HR began to evolve, I also evolved from traditional HR management to HR technology. Be flexible. Be flexible. Move based on insight. The global system is already, is changing all the time. So you need to be agile, as Peter said. You need to be agile. Agile talks about adaptability. You need to be flexible. You need to be able to change. Have plan A, plan B, plan Z, right? Don't just stick to one thing. If you watch the way things are going, you readjust yourself, right? From traditional HR management and all that, I've transitioned into digital human resource management. Very important. Why? Because some years ago, especially in 2018, I read an article online that says that in 2025, HR will be dead. And I got worried. HR will be dead in 2025. And I asked the question, why? So, because of automation. And then I decided to meet with automation, to go into the world of automation, right? So that when the time comes, I will not be displaced. And today, we have a HR software that we are giving out, right? So very important, be flexible. Then the next point, which is second to the last, I think, is overcoming setbacks. In your drive for career advancement, there will be challenges. That is true. You need to have resilience, right? You need to develop resilience, right? Develop resilience. You need to fail fast, learn fast, and adjust fast. So when you fail, it's good. It's not about failing. One of my CEOs, said to us, he will always say it. He said, he doesn't bother himself that somebody fell on the floor. No, that fall is not the issue. The question is, did you pick something positive when you fell? Right? What did you pick from the floor when you fell? That's the issue. What lesson did you learn from the floor? Right? So if failure is part of the process, you must see it as part of the process. All the goals I set to myself, I didn't achieve all of them. But you keep moving. Yeah, you keep moving. Don't stay one place. By all means, keep moving. By all means, if you are not crawling, if you cannot, somebody say, if you cannot fly, run. If you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. By all means, keep moving. So embrace resilience, please. Be tough. Tough times never last, but tough people do, please. Right? Thank you. The next point is, did you know, as I try to round up and then leave you to ask questions, that in 1979, graduates of Harvard MBA program were asked, have you set clear and written goals for your future and made plans to accomplish them? Only 3% of the graduates had written goals and plans. 13 had goals, but not in writing, right? Fully 84% had no specific goals at all. 10 years later, I love Oyibo because they always like to track things. 10 years later, in 1989, the researchers interviewed the members of that same class again, and they found that 13% who had goals that were not in writing form were earning twice as much as the 84% of students who didn't even have goals. They also now discovered that the 3% of the graduates who had clear written goals when they left Harvard, were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97% of graduates altogether. The only difference between the groups was the clarity of their goals that they mapped out for themselves. Don't live a life of where belle face. Take responsibility for your career, set plans for yourself, and drive it, and be resilient in achieving these things. The last slide says the journey never ends. Career success is a lifelong process. Success is not a destination, it's actually a journey. As you can see me climbing that staircase, I will keep climbing the staircase. It never ends, right? And so what's one career goal you set for yourself today to move forward? Thank you so much for your time. I leave you time for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frederick, for this wonderful, deep insight. In fact, anybody who attends this program, there's no way he will not carry one full note, not even one.
Thank you, sir.
To implement. I have a couple of takeaways, and I'm sure some of the colleagues who are joined on here have some of those takeaways. For example, here I have written down, it says, if you don't plan your career, you will not succeed in it. Interesting. And then this particular one resonated very well. You are the CEO of your career. So what are you doing as a CEO in your career, as the case is? And then you said that, well, everybody would refer to the idiots. So let me not talk about the idiots. Yeah, let me just refer to here where you spoke about the billboard of life. That the billboard of life will orchestrate your life instead of your blueprints if you follow everything you see and everything you hear around you. Interesting and wonderful session. Thank you so much, very much, Frederick. Friends, colleagues, can we send some emojis and some gratitude to Frederick for such a wonderful session? And while you're doing that, feel free to ask a question or two in order to get more clarity and more feedback. It's like we need a whole day, if not a weekend, Saturday and Sunday complete for Frederick to take us through a particular note. Please share on the chat any questions, feedback. Questions and feedback, if you have any one of them, please share as we wrap up this particular part of the session. Yes, feel free to ask questions. I have a couple of questions, depending on what others have to share. So, Frederick, I might, let me just ask you one of the questions here so you can provide us with additional insight. How does one identify the right career milestone to focus on? Right? Should I focus on, like you talked about 6 months, 1 year, 4 years? How long should I focus in my career planning? Should I plan for 1 year? Should I plan for 3 years? And some of us, you know, once it's too long, we'll forget, we'll not be able to catch up. What would you recommend?
Okay, sir, thank you. The most important thing is for you to have the big picture for you. Have the big picture first. I like coming from top to bottom. You know, I'm funny enough in my PhD coursework we did, we talked about deductive and inductive approach to research. Now, deductive means that you are going from the big picture to the nitty-gritty, while inductive means you are going from the nitty-gritty. I always prefer to go from the big picture to the nitty-gritty. What do I mean? When you capture the big picture, every other thing will fall in place. Let me give a short answer here. When I came out from the university, I wanted to get married. I wanted to get married immediately. And I got married as a youth corps member. I was in NIS when I got married. But this is what I want to bring up. You know, I realized that the other goals that I had will submit to that one. Because if I'm going to get married, it means I must have a job. If I must get married, I must have a house. I must live somewhere. So I went for that big one. That one was my drive. So with that big picture, every other thing will fall in place. You can get a house and not get married. You can get a car and not get married. So always have the big picture in mind, and every other thing will flow with it, right? So I would say that you said what should be your, where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years, 10 years? What do you want to retire known for, right? Me, I want to retire known as a global speaker, known as a HR expert, and all that. So I now begin to tell myself, okay, if I'm going to retire like that, what will I do? I now categorize 10 years plan, 5 years plan, 1 year plan, then till today, till this morning, what do I need to do now? So please always come from the big picture, then you drill it down. We call it cascading in performance management. You cascade it down to what you now do per second and per minute. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That puts it in perspective so it is easier. Focus on the big picture and then let others adapt to that particular big picture. Thank you so much. So friends, any other questions? Oh, look at all the love they are sending on the chat. Thank you very much. All right. Beautiful. There's a question here by Josephine. Josephine says, please, how can you help someone who is finding it difficult to set clear goals? In the chat, how can you help someone who is finding it difficult to set clear goals?
I can see that. So what happens is that if a general meeting like this did not help, the next thing is for us to go granular. And going granular means that there's going to be a conversation with you to understand your strength, your area of interest and all that. Then we'll put that into perspective to now be able to advise you that this is now what you should focus on. I'm also a personality assessment expert. In fact, we also have our own system developed, by the grace of God, that we use to assess people to find their strength and their weaknesses and all that. And then we can use that to guide you into the area you should focus in. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Frederick Okeagu, for this particular wonderful session. Clearly, we will arrange for this program again. There are a lot of nuggets. Although we rush through it, we're going to take time so I can break it down very well. So at those who are interested, there will be a formal deep dive program where we'll put Frederick in place to engage you properly. And then you can take practical takeaways that you can implement from that particular session. I'm sure in the near future, not too near future, we shall come back to you again. Thank you, Frederick, for this wonderful session.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Friends in the house, thank you. In alignment with some of the things he has shared, especially being conscious about your career. I think one of the major points he made is being deliberate about whatever you do with respect to your career. I'd like to quickly recommend for you, if you have decided that professional certification is an area you're interested in, feel free to reach out to us. We can assist you with your HR certifications, with your project management certifications. I've shared a link in the chat box. You can reach out to that. Either your APHRI, your SPHRI, your PHRI, or GPHR, or even SHRM certification. You can access those particular resources. And if you can't wait, you want to get on it immediately, we have live programs that are recorded on our e-learning platform, referred to as Provacity. Yes, as Provacity. So if you go to this particular platform, you'll find all the information you want in that particular area. You can attend those courses immediately and take advantage of it at that time. Thank you once again. It's been an awesome session. We're going to take another 2-3 minutes break. We shall be back at 12:02 as we switch on to the next speaker to take us through another conversation. Thank you all for such an engaging session. See you around.